This will do your head in, but we're going to slow it down. 4 steps to this. 1, we're going to acknowledge. You'll see number 2 on the bottom there. It says we're going to clarify. Number 3 on the top left-hand corner, the reality of the situation. And 4, the action. Now, notice on one side there, you've got the customer, the stakeholder, the person that's angry, yelling, screaming. On the other side, you've got the system. So numbers 1 and 2, we're just on the customer side. I get it. I know you're right. What you're telling me is this. There's situations there that you're not happy about. I'm on your side. Now we go, but. There's nothing wrong with the word but. Some people say, oh, the word but just, disqualifies everything you just said. But the situation is this. Here's the reason that we're doing the things. Here's the reality of the situation. This is what's been implemented. So let's go through them. Have a look at all of these. Somebody calls you a racist or get me a woman. And that was the one that Tracy brought up. That's not helpful. So you can go straight from, that's not helpful. I can see this is frustrating. Or, so that's not helpful. You look angry. Too right on bloody angry. That's okay. They can say that you've acknowledged it. There's nothing wrong with saying you look confused or you seem confused or it seems like to me that you're confused about why these changes have been. Yes. Why wouldn't I be? Slow down. I use the word slow down a lot as a way of saying calm down, because you can't say calm down because then they'll say, I am calm, but they won't say, I am slow. So I use slow down a minute. Let me finish. This is really important information for you. Or you're a racist, so there's no need for that. And then you go straight into the acknowledge part of it. I understand your concerns. I hear your resentment. I know this is difficult. But like I said earlier on, choose one of these and stick with it. Stick the first 2, mate. Stick with the first 2. That's not helpful, and there's no need for that. So you can go, that's not helpful, and then go to the other side and say, it does seem unfair, or I can see that this is distressing, or, so there's no need for that. Your situation is horrible. That acknowledges the person. It shows the person that you can see and empathize with their plight. Now, of course, have a look at the next one where it says that may be the case. You're not going to use this when you're a racist. So that may be the case. No. Where you would use this is, I know the mayor, or I pay your wages. See, when somebody says, I pay your wages, my direct response is, so that may be the case. But that doesn't exempt you from, or, so that may be the case. Let me explain how the policy came to us. Or the next one there, you make a valid point. Now, you wouldn't say that with you're a racist, but when somebody says, I pay my rates here and that should be included in the rates. And you go, so you make a valid point. Let me elaborate on what you're saying. So you've got to go from number 1 to number 2 very quickly. Choose the one that you like. That last one there on the bottom right-hand corner says that's an awful thing to say. You're a racist. So that's an awful thing to say. Look, I know you aren't satisfied with the service or whatever, and then you carry on. So pick one. You'll get a copy of these. That's all there for you. Number 2, now we go from, we're going to stay with, so that's not helpful. I can see this is frustrating. I know you're not happy with. Now, remember, I asked the question, what is it that they're not happy with? All we need to do here is reflect back on what they're not happy about. I'm not happy about the increases in the charges. I'm not happy about loud noises from the children. This person's not happy about not being able to access the computer room without being a member. You're saying this directly back. Sir, I know you're not happy about having to sign up as a member or a temporary member just to use the computer. Bang, done. You've done this sentence. That's done. You start off with, sir, that's not helpful. There's no need to be rude. I know you're not happy with having to become a temporary member while using our facilities in here. Leave it at that. Don't need to explain any more. Or you can say, let me see if I heard you correctly. You're not happy with having to become a member. Or, so what you're saying is that you shouldn't have to be a member to utilize the services here. Or, so what you're saying is that the children making noises is upsetting your peace to be able to do some things on the computer. Or you're not happy with having to share your computer with other people, because the answer to all of these is yes. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Now, if the can have a look at this boxed area. The boxed area says you can continue this situation. Let's just say this person is so aggressive with, I'm not happy about, the bins. I'm not happy about no access to the top level. I'm not happy about this. And they just keep going and going. And they're taking you around in circles. At some stage, I stop the conversation, and I've done all this. I can see you're not happy with having to, you know, follow the policies that councils put up here. Mate, why should I? Because back in the old days, we could just walk in, do what we want, and then at some stage, I just go, sir, in the box. I go, what is it you'd like me to do? Then I listen to it. What is it you want me to do? And be really clear. Or what do you suggest that we do? Or, so how would you like to see this resolved? That might be a little bit too formal. Or did you have an outcome in mind? Did you have a solution? Do you have any ideas to move forward? Now, let's just go with the increase in prices. Okay. The rates have gone up. Let's just say that one. Or having to be a member, whichever one. And they go, just let me in. Just let me in the room without having to be a member. Right? That's what they're going to say. Or give it to me at last year's prices. Or let everyone in. Why don't you just make it a free-for-all? Now, we know that we're not going to say, oh, okay, that's a good suggestion. Free-for-all. In fact, I'm going to up it. No more rates for anyone. We're just going to open the library up and come as you want. That's not going to happen. So let's just go, what is it you want me to do? And they say something like, well, you should have free membership for people who provide a pass to say that they are travelers. Right? Like that. Now, this is how we respond. The reality. If I did that. Now, I don't know how you're going to respond to that. You're not going to say, I can't do that. Remember one of the things that was an escalating phrase? You just say, sir, if I did that. Or ma'am, if I did that. And then you choose one of these responses. If I did that, it would go against our policy. This is very clear. Your policy is there for a reason. 99% of people will just agree with this. Or, so if I did that, it would be in breach of our safety advice. Safety is, if you can always use safety, it's the number one thing. Sir, if I did that, I'd be breaking the law. Well, you're not breaking any law here, but you could. Like if they said something like, just turn a blind eye to it and just sign the document. Sir, if I did that, I'd be breaking the law. And then the last thing in the big bold says, and I'm not prepared to do that. So even with this one here, just have the membership open to everyone who's got a traveler's pass. Ma'am, if I did that, I'd be going against our policy, and I'm not prepared to do that. That I'm not prepared to do that. One of two things will happen. They roll the eyes, or they say, get me someone who's paid the big bucks that I can deal with. And then you then naturally have to pass that on. And we'll show you how that should be passed on. Or in this one here, ma'am, sir, if I did that, it would be going against our current legislation. If I did that, I'd be discriminating against everyone else. Discrimination's a big thing here. Or, sir, if I did that, it wouldn't be inclusive to the other people that have signed up as members. Or this one, sir, if I did that, I wouldn't be doing my job properly. That's a great one. This is your job. So you would say, if I allowed this to happen, well, I wouldn't, if I did this, I wouldn't be doing my job properly. And that to me is, when somebody says that to me, I just go, wow, yeah, they've got a job to do. I might want to still argue with them. And, being someone of Viking heritage, I might go, well, I'm sure there's something else that you can do. I'd like to be able to help, but my role requires me to do this. God. Or it goes against our rules and I'm not prepared to do it. And then you can go into, Gerald or John or Michael or Peter or whoever. Here's the thing. And then you go into whatever the thing is. Or, I know the mayor. Look, I get that, and that may be the case, but that doesn't allow you to do this. Or, our responsibility in council is to ensure that everyone has a fair and equity go at utilizing the machinery, whatever. My role requires me to do this. Gerald, here's the situation. And you'll be very clear. Or just because you know the mayor, or just because you pay my wages, doesn't mean that you can raise your voices here and demand extra action. Or so this doesn't exempt you just because you know the mayor and the mayor has said that you're allowed to use all the facilities. It doesn't exempt you from having to be a member, to be part of this community that we have here. And then you go into the last one that says, give me a chance. Let me explain what we're prepared to do here. Or, look, I've got a couple of suggestions on how this is going to help you. Or, here's what I'm committed to doing. Allow me to go so I can get you some relevant information. Or, look, I'm not going to be able to solve this immediately, but I can point you in the right direction. Ma'am, sir, this isn't going to change the situation. Hey, if I could do this and I could make the changes, I would. But this seems to me like it's a civil matter. Or, Gerald, I'd like you to listen to what I'm about to say because this is going to help you. So if you have a look at this in its entirety, it is very, very big. It's very like it's in your face. There's a lot of stuff there. But what I'd like you to do with all that stuff is break it down. Choose one. I like what Tracy's written here. This is perfect. And it's going to be on my slides. Tracy, did you steal my slides? Because it's perfect. Tracy says here, there's no need for that. Give me a chance to explain. That's perfect. You're a racist. I know the mayor. I've been to your training in 2021. That's not fair. Very good. And if you have been using it, hopefully it's kind of worked for you. But it's a good thing. Good on you, cheat. Yeah. But it's a good thing that you remember that. Somebody else has written, I'm hearing you, but we need to talk about what's upsetting you first. That's good. I don't mind that. Like, I'm hearing what you're saying. Can we talk about why you're so upset about this situation? And if you can, use what we say, use what we call natural language. People know when you're scripting something because it comes across as being really fake. It's kind of like, how do I say this politely? Because it's going to offend truck drivers. Talk like a truck driver. Don't talk like an accountant. Oh God, there's going to be an accountant here, and I'm going to offend an accountant. But you want to be professional yet natural, which is, look, I hear what you're saying, but I think we need to address the situation that's just upset you when you walked into the room. Can we do that right now? So that there, you'll notice even when I'm doing it, I'm lowering my voice. I'm being very calm about it. I'm strategic about it. I am concerned about how we do this. Some people have written, Tracy says, I still have your documents still on my wall. That's good. Why are you back then? Why have you come back? Has something happened? And you think that we're going to... Did you know about the fire extinguisher, Tracy? I don't know if you did. I don't know if I talked about it. I very rarely talk about the fire extinguisher. No. There you go. You've got a new fire extinguisher. All right. So for everyone else, you'll see up on that side. No, that side. You'll see all here that it's all written here, but it breaks it right down, like into the area. So what I want to do now is I'll break it down even further so that you can see how it may affect you. So let's look at this. When you approach agitated customers, you must monitor your own emotional and physiological response so as to remain calm and therefore be capable of performing verbal de-escalation. This is most important. If you're not calm, you're not going to calm another person down. So this is where the mindfulness, the breathing technique, this is where your self-regulation happens. And somebody brought up as a question just after our break is, will we talk about mindfulness? Who brought that up? I can't remember who brought that up, but I want to maybe have that person take the floor for a second, because all this stuff is really important. Being aware, being centered, being mindful of how you come across, and also the breathing. I think breathing, sure, it's involuntary, but there is a technique to breathing so that when we do, we fill up the diaphragm, not just the lungs. We fill the diaphragm up so when we speak with ease. So who brought that up that would like to maybe add to the mindfulness slash breathing techniques? It sounds like you may know a little bit about that. And if you I'll give you the mic if you want to say something. Give me a couple of seconds. Ravens Hope just wrote there, make them see you as a fellow person, not as someone that they can, not as someone that they can't relate to. 100%. Yeah, 100%. You may be in an authoritative position, being an officer of the local government, which you are. But yeah, Sarah, you need to unmute. And yeah, make them see you as a fellow human being. It does work. You know, my years in policing has taught me this. And the one thing I know is that you speak aggressively to a person, and I never understand when I still see it on TV when they yell and scream and carry on. It scares me. It scares me because I know it didn't work. Maybe it's just the way that we were taught back in the day. Sarah, would you like to unmute? Would you like to say something? Nope. Does anyone know about mindfulness and breathing techniques? Come on, there must be some yogis in here. Some people going to Pilates and yoga and stretching exercises. Come on, anyone? I need my throat. I need to have a break. I've been speaking too much. Kaylee says, yes, we learnt it in a clinic. I have PTSD. Yes, you do learn that. Yep. Sarah says, sorry, I don't think my microphone is working. That's okay. So mindfulness really gets down to being centered and being in the moment. Like if you were to think about where you are now, you can think about, like I'm listening, I can hear just a cricket outside. I'm in Ashgrove, by the way, so I'm not too far from Brisbane City. Can hear the crickets. I can hear air conditioning on. I can hear someone clicking. That's being mindful, but we don't notice those. If I hadn't have brought that up, I wouldn't have noticed it. Maybe being mindful that the person that you're speaking to or that person who's having conflict with you is actually quite upset. They're upset about something. And if we were trying to get ourselves, the old saying is put yourself in the other person's shoes and feel what it is that they're feeling and how upset they can be, that may be a good way to be able to go, this would be a horrible situation to be in. I wonder what I would be like. And we've all been in that situation. A mechanic gives you a bill, you know, your telco all of a sudden ups their charges. Your electricity company whacks up the charges and you use very little. Your grocery bills go up. We all have these little trigger points. And yet sometimes you get the people who was the CEO of Coles and Woolies and Aldi. They don't care. Oh, we're here to make sure that we satisfy our shareholders. But, we're all hurting. And I think sometimes it's about being mindful that that person is suffering and we don't want to add to it. We shouldn't add to it, because just like we have a safe space, I truly believe that regardless of how aggressive that person is, they should also have a safe space. And that could be you just talking to them. Remember, one of the three things we can do is that we can talk to them or we can walk away. I first like to talk to them. If that doesn't work, I'm out. I'll just walk away. I seriously just walk away. Say, I'll leave you with it. Sounds like to me that you don't want to have this discussion. So I'm going to leave you with it. Let me know when you're open for a conversation and I'll walk away. Sarah says, feeling your breath is centered and not shallow. Yep. Feel your heartbeat. That's good. Assume a positive outcome. Yeah, that's pretty much it, Sarah. Yeah, thank you for that. All right. Let's have a look at some of these last phrases. Remember this. I wonder how you would feel now knowing that you've got some phrases in front of you that you can utilize. So let's go through some of these. So this you can use in one sentence. And this is exactly what Tracy had written up. John, that's not helpful. Give me a chance to explain. I think you deserve an explanation. Just hear me out for a tick. That's a beautiful line. Look at that. You know, somebody calls you a racist. Somebody says, I know the mayor. Somebody says, I pay your wages. Somebody says, the noise in here is just frustrating me. Now, why don't you do something about it? And you go, John, that's not helpful. Look, give me a chance to explain. I think you deserve an explanation. Just hear me out for a tick. You say that in one sentence without taking a breath, but mean it, not just using the phrase, but mean it. It's going to be a lot more effective. I like using their name. I'll just use John as an example. John, look, there's no need for that. I can see you're not happy with whatever they're not happy with. I can see you're not happy with the way that council has provided this service, but that doesn't allow you to yell, scream, raise your voice, and upset other people in here. I know the mayor, John, look, that may be the case, but that doesn't mean that you can demand extra services that's not available to every other customer. Just because you pay my wages doesn't allow you to demand unreasonable situations. You know, John, how do you want to do this? You know, what would you like to do? What do you suggest? You make a valid point, but that doesn't exempt you from having you follow the rules. Let me help you with that. Just because you pay my wages doesn't mean that you can behave like this. What would you like me to do? And then they say, I want you to reduce the rates. I want you to, let me in. I want you to make this happen. And you're not going to give in. You're not. You just can't give in. You're being assertive, and you're just going to say, John, if I did that, I wouldn't be doing my job properly. I'm not prepared to do that. Or if I did that, I'd be breaking the law. I'd be going against our policy, and I'm not prepared to do that. Or if I did that, I'd be going against our code. And really, John, I'm not prepared to do that. Well, who do I need to speak to? Look, there are ways that you can speak to people. If you go to our website, you can fill in a form. Another form. Do I have to fill in another form? John, slow down. There's no need to raise your voice. I'm giving you some options of what you can do. So the lower and the slower your rate of speech, the more credible you will appear. That's the goal, though, is being able to be lowering the speech, breathing, be credible. This is a tough one. I have a lot of people saying the same thing. I've used it very rarely, but when some people have made some, comments, it's not a bad thing to say, you know what? I've had a lot of people saying the same thing, and I've taken it on board. But at this point in time, it doesn't exempt us from making this happen. So let me tell you how the policy works now. And until we review it at a later date, I might be able to help you with some other information. Slow down. I said I use that a lot. When a person's getting angry, why don't you do this? How come you haven't done that? You said you were going to do this. Other customers are doing this. Why haven't they done that? John, slow down a second. I can see this is frustrating you. And you just pick one thing, which is, I heard you mention something about the rates, about the rates being extremely high. Can we just talk about that? Hang on. And then you go, but that doesn't mean you can continue to raise your voice. Look, and the second to last one here is, I like all these. When you ask them, what is it you want me to do? And they say, well, I just want you to give it to me for free. I like all these. Look, if I did that, it would be discriminative. Or if I did that, it wouldn't be inclusive. If I did what you're asking me to do, it really breaches our safety. And I'm not prepared to do that. If I did that, it goes against the legislation. So all these things always work. They just do, because they don't have a comeback to it. Like I had a young nephew, this is years ago, I had a young nephew who said to me they should legislate that we could smoke marijuana. And I went, I'm with you. They should. But they don't. Since there's no argument there. I'm with you. They should legislate it that it should be free and it should be legal and we should be able to smoke in the streets. But the law doesn't allow us to do this. And I'm not prepared to have you smoke marijuana in my house. That was as simple as it was. That was as simple as it was. And, well, he's grown up now. This one here on the middle line is, John, look, I don't have a problem with you. Or have I been rude to you? It's the next one down. Have I been rude to you? Because that's always a good one. If they're rude to me, I'll say, slow down a minute. John, have I been rude to you? And I don't say, because if I have, I'm sorry. I will just say, John, have I been rude to you? Because I can see you're not happy with the way things are going. I want you to hear me out for a tick, because what I'm about to say will help you. And so all these. And look, I've got it here. Your tone of voice should be calm and direct, yet understanding. Yeah. How do you do that? And here's a big wall thing that you've got. I think this might be the thing that Tracy has on her wall. That's not helpful. Give me a chance to explain. You deserve an explanation. There's no need for that. That may be the case. Look, that's just one thing you can have sitting on your wall. And you should. Little cheat sheet sitting next to you on the computer. If you're on the phone, you hear somebody going off, bang, straight to that. Straight to that. We've still got about half an hour. And Tracy says, yep, that's the one. That's the one. Does anyone want to ask anything? Because I've got a few more slides that we're going through about dealing with a mentally ill person. How do we speak to a person that's suffering from maybe some delusions or has a mental illness, psychosis? We'll have a look at how we can deal with that just a little. But right now, I'll give it a second. I'm just going to grab a glass of water, people. Chat amongst yourselves. Kaylee says, I hope you're all finding this helpful. Says also, I like the examples of what to say. Very helpful. I think the one thing that I think sticks out with a lot of people is the practice, the practice that you can use. Where it generally doesn't work, and I want to be very clear with this doesn't work with my wife. Doesn't work. It does not work. She sees right through it. In fact, when I said I'm doing this session and she's off to work, and she said, just a reminder, don't try any of that bullshit with me. And I went, there's no need for that. That's it there. Don't be doing that. Yeah, it's hard when there's a difference between a customer and a person that you love. A total big difference. Big difference. So, yeah, don't be using this to your partners too much. Maybe early on in the relationship may be good, but don't be using it. For children under 4, you've lost. They will win all the time, so don't try it. We said also substance abuse. Walk away, stay safe. Don't try to rationalize with the irrational. Don't try to be reasonable with an unreasonable person. That doesn't work. All right. If anyone wants to, while I have you, to maybe open your mic up and say something, add something that you're not clear on, this is probably the perfect opportunity, because I'll finish off with just a couple of more phrases and examples that you can look at. You'll all get copies of this. The recording will be here. I'll send that off. I'll edit it a little bit so we can get rid of the gaps that are in there. I'll edit that and just send off the good bits. Hi, Gerald. I sent a message in the other screen to remain discreet. I sent a message in the other screen to remain discreet. Okay. Yes. Yep. Yeah. What I'll do also is that anyone that's spoken, I will mute if their faces come up, I will mute the face, or I will silence the name. So if I've said Sarah or Kaylee, I'll mute the name. So it just becomes very much a session that you can watch back and others may be able to have a look at. All right. And we'll carry on. We've got about less than 15 minutes to go. Let's bring up the last things. All right, have a look at some of these phrases here. So I've used this a lot in my past, where you use something like, come here. You're not talking to a dog. You're talking to a human. So this is more threatening behavior. Alternative is, John, let's talk. Can we talk about this? I want to know what's going on. The phrase here is calm down. Well, that's critical of others' behaviors. An alternative here is talk to me. Things will be okay. I can hear how angry or upset you are. Let me know when you're done. Then we can talk. That's all. That's a good phrase. That's a very good assertive phrase. It depends on how you say it. You can't just say, let me know when you're done, then we can talk about it. Just say, just let me know when you're finished. Let me know when you've done, and let's talk about this. The phrase here, what's your problem? It's very much adversarial. Or use this one, how can I help? What can I do for you? These are all good. Phrase again, you should not, very judgmental. What do you want to do? What options do you consider? Another one is, what do you want me to do about it? There's your evasion of responsibility. An alternative here is, look, I might not be able to solve that right now, but look, I've got some options for you. This one's very condescending phrase. I've told you once, I'll tell you 100 times, and I don't want to be saying this again. But I like saying, I want to say this again, and I would like you to listen carefully because this is important to you. Some people don't like I will say it again. Take that phrase away. Just say, I'd like you to listen carefully to what I'm about to say because this will help you. And when they hear that, this will help you, they want this help. They want the help. Phrase, drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife. Verbalizing the presence of a knife is important to alert other officers or witnesses to possible threats. But if this command doesn't work after 2, 3, 4 times, you probably need to pivot. This is great. Again, we talk. Why yell? Why yell? It raises anxiety. So, John, why don't you just put the knife down and we can talk? This works in healthcare. Healthcare use this a lot. And if you listen to some good healthcare workers, they're very calm in because they deal with it a lot. Well, John, can I ask why you're holding the knife? Are you planning to hurt someone with that knife? See, the talking and asking questions helps a person to maybe talk. And what they do is they lose their strength, their guard with holding something. John, I'm concerned when you carry that knife, you might hurt yourself or someone else. John, what can I do for you? I'm here to help you. So all these nice little calming phrases. Here are some more. I can help you with that, but you need to hear me out. John, let me see if I heard you correctly. Tell me what's got you so upset. Will you allow me to try to help you with your concerns? All these are good. These are now talking about people with, maybe a little bit more anxiety, anxiousness. You got a person who's dealing with a lot of stress in their life. You can use this one here. Look, I would if I could, but I'm not authorized to do that. That's always a good one. You can use that. I'd really like to help you with that, but only the courts can make that change. I want to work with you, but I need you to be helpful. All very good. Last couple of things you can do to handle someone else's anger. I always like to think the outcome. The outcome for me is that how do I keep this person calm? Like, what do I have to do? This is not working. My outcome is I need to calm the situation down. So I can either ignore them, I can agree with them again in principle. I can empathize with them. That always works. Not always, but that can work. I can ask questions or invite criticism. Inviting criticism would be something like, why would you say that? You're a racist. John, why would you say that? Again, you think your outcome. If you want to know why they would say that, then you can ask that question. I've got there use humor. Be very careful on how you use humor. A good example of that is it has been used. Some people have got away with, I pay your wages. Oh, yeah? How about a pay rise? It can work. Be very careful. Validate their concerns. Make an effort to open up the conversation. Breathe. Yeah, agree with them in principle. Remain calm. Get more polite or just get polite without being patronizing or condescending. And again, we said this earlier, it's hard, but don't take it personally. I know they're attacking you, but there's something else going on that they're attacking. They're not attacking you. You're just the front-facing person, and they need to attack the front-facing person. Agree with them. All right, Miller's Law. Miller's Law states, to understand what another person is saying, you must assume that it is true, and then try to imagine what it could be true of. So that's why I say, just imagine what they're saying, or just think, yes, you're right. Because imagine they must think in their head that they are right. So I would say it must be right for them. It just must be. But why would they think that? And so we continue the conversation. Quick recap. Deal with the difficult behavior, not the person. Respond to the difficult behavior rather than reacting to it. Choose the appropriate response to the other person's behavior. Don't react to an emotional outburst. Hard to do. Allow people to let steam off. They're allowed. Listen actively, acknowledge to what's being said, and explain or take other alternatives. Remember, don't get hooked in. Don't get sucked into the bait. It's easy. It's really easy. I can walk. Oh, I'm going to do this as a little experiment. I'm going to walk into the state library, and if I'm up in Mackay or Townsville, wherever you are, I'm going to walk in. I'm going to see if you will take the bait, and you will. You will take the bait unless you go, hang on, what's my goal here? I don't want to be on the front page of the Courier Mail, and I just want this to be fair. Don't get drawn into other person's power games. Maintain your own self-control. Clarify any vague or general statements to determine what the other person is saying.